USS Eldridge, back when she is supposedly the subject of an audacious experiment in teleportation and invisibility. The experiment takes place in the early years of World War II as a countermeasure against German U-boats. Allied convoys are a lifeline, delivering men, goods, and weapons in Britain's hour of need. The warships protecting them are a step behind enemy subs, as they have wider turning radiuses. A U-boat can easily outmaneuver a destroyer, slip into the convoy, and zero in on a defenseless target. To combat the subs, the U.S. Navy develops a more maneuverable kind of warship called a destroyer escort. There are plans to give the destroyer escort the supreme advantage over submarines: invisibility. The alleged brainchild of none other than Albert Einstein, the eyewitness to the experiment named Carlos Allende.
According to Allende, the Navy used a variation of Albert Einstein's unified field theory to bend light, to render the ship invisible because it was encased in this electromagnetic fog.
It is also from Allende that we learn the identity of the supposed test ship, a destroyer escort named the USS Eldridge. Likewise, everyone has heard of Carlos Miguel Allende, but no one can find him.
People everywhere were looking for Carlos Miguel Allende, but he kept moving. Towns would change, postmarks would change, return addresses would change. He always kept on the move. He was too much of a mystery man, possibly in fear of his life.
This leap into the technological unknown is not without its terrors, or so says Alfred Bielek, who claims to have been on the scientific team.
We were all very concerned, and I might add for 3 days prior, from about the 9th onward, many of us had that strange feeling in the pit of our stomach that something was drastically wrong.
In July 1943 in Philadelphia Naval Yard, the experiment is said to go forward. Powerful electromagnetic fields are engaged around the Eldridge, a skeleton crew aboard. Scientists and officers watching at a safe distance. The only other reported eyewitness is Carlos Allende, a deckhand on a nearby Liberty ship.
And what he claims he saw was a ship that was engulfed in a greenish, almost a St. Elmo's fire, a green fiery fog.
As the electromagnetic fog swallows the Eldridge, strange optical effects manifest themselves.
And that as he watched and was able to even insert his arm into what he called the terrific flow of this energy, the ship disappeared.
To the amazement of all the onlookers, they not only had radar invisibility, they had optical invisibility.
The Eldridge reportedly achieves the supreme form of camouflage, invisibility. But then comes an even stranger effect, teleportation. As the Eldridge starts to reappear, there is a sudden flash of light that the ship vanishes from sight once again and simultaneously begins to reappear in the Naval Yard in Norfolk, Virginia, 300 miles away. After a few minutes, she dematerializes in Norfolk and reappears in the midst of another ozone-laden green fog in Philadelphia. Throughout this miraculous journey, the USS Eldridge emerges unscathed. But for her crew, it is a different story.
Men were molecularly attached to the ship, bonded with the ship.
As we continue, the nightmare that follows and the alleged cover-up.
Their family was never told the truth. They were told basically that they were lost at sea during the war as part of the war effort.
Molecules have been scrambled, human with metal. Limbs have been fused to bulkheads. A gruesome sight.
First thing they found was 2 sailors buried in the steel deck. The bodies were literally buried in the steel, dying or near dead. 2 more were found standing upright in a bulkhead, also buried in the steel. 5th man with his hand buried in the steel up to his wrist.
Other sailors are simply missing, vaporized into thin air. For survivors, there are still other problems due to the powerful electromagnetic fields they have been exposed to.
The problem basically was that the human nervous system could not take exposure to that level of magnetic and electric fields and would cause neural damage.
Nerve damage so severe that some of the victims are reportedly institutionalized, while falsely classified as missing in action.
Their family was never told the truth. They were told basically that they were lost at sea during the war as part of the war effort.
The scientific team is dissolved, further experiments canceled. Eldridge's logs are said to be altered to show that she was never in Philadelphia Naval Yard. Witnesses are forced to sign draconian oaths of secrecy. Project Rainbow, as it is called, is canceled. Classified, as some say, beyond top secret. Morris K. Jessup. Jessup is a scientist and author, one of the early investigators into the paranormal. In 1955, he publishes The Case for the UFO. This official scorn disguises a real government interest. Reports are coming in from military pilots of flying objects no one can explain. Morris K. Jessup, for one, is left shaking his head over the Navy's interest. He is said to begin his own investigation into the Philadelphia experiment. By 1959, he has reportedly made a breakthrough and is about to share his discovery with a colleague named Dr. Manson Valentine.
In April of 1959, Morris Jessup called up his friend, Dr. Valentine, and said, I think I found something in regards to the Philadelphia experiment that I've been researching. They made an appointment to have dinner and go over his research the following day.
On the next day, however, Jessup's car is discovered in a park in Coral Gables, Florida. Its engine is still running. A hose stretches from the exhaust pipe to inside the car. Inside is Morris K. Jessup, still breathing, though he soon expires from carbon monoxide poisoning. An apparent suicide.
It's absolutely interesting that instead of arriving at Dr. Valentine's house, he instead chose to go to a park and allegedly commit suicide.
Some believe that he was murdered for what he knew about the Philadelphia experiment.